The pregnancy had been a highly anticipated one. It would be the first grandchild in either of their families. The whole 9 months had been filled with joy, but that stopped when the baby was born, as Mark's reaction was far from what Jenna had expected. With both of them being white and the baby being black, Mark knew enough and left Jenna alone in the hospital. However, as the family turned to DNA testing, they had no idea its results would be something they could have never imagined. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Push, Jenna, push, Mark had said to his wife as he held her hand in the delivery room. The doctor had said the baby was nearly there. One final push, the doctor said, giving Jenna and Mark a pointed look. His wife. She had never looked more beautiful than she did now. From this day on, she would no longer only be his wife, but also the mother of his child, or so he thought. Mark could almost hear it, the popping sound as their firstborn finally released the tension within his wife. She had done it. For a millisecond, he felt pride, as everything seemed to be quiet. Then, time continued as he could hear the baby crying. The body of their baby was blocked by the doctor holding them, carrying them over to his wife. But then, the baby came into view. Mark sucked in a breath at the sight. His brow immediately furrowed, and he unconsciously stepped back in shock. What the fuck is this? Mark thought to himself as his eyes grew wide. He didn't even notice his wife's reaction. He didn't even notice that she was there, as all Mark could see was the black baby in the doctor's arms. It was betrayal and hurt that went through him. Instead of it, he now felt piping hot anger. She had betrayed him. The woman he loved and married, promised to spend the rest of his life with, had betrayed him in the most gruesome way. He could only see how the newborn was placed into Jenna's arms. Her eyes were filled with love, but also something else. She expectantly turned to Mark, but her face fell when she saw his expression, which he was clearly wearing for the whole world to see. "Jenna, the fuck is going on?" Mark bit out. Jenna gulped first, before she started to speak. "Mark, come back and just hold her for a second. I don't know what's going on either, but there must be an explanation for it all." "Sure you don't know what is going on," Mark said angrily. She had cheated on him. Now, it was Jenna's time to frown. "What are you implying, Mark? We are married. This is our child." Mark simply scoffed at this, shaking his head. He knew she had always been loyal to him. They had gone through thick and thin. However, that didn't erase the fact of how the baby looked. "I need time to think," Mark stated, as he walked out of the delivery room. He soon came into the waiting area and noticed the large scale of their families patiently waiting to see the newest addition to the family. He had to tell them that it was just the newest addition to Jenna's family. "Oh my gosh!" Lily, Mark's sister, exclaimed when she saw Mark. "Is the little bean here? Has the baby been born?" she asked, nearly jumping in excitement as she rushed over to Mark. Mark, whose red-hot anger had changed into something else, emotion flooded him as he couldn't feel anger any longer. Now, he simply felt betrayed. "Yeah, the baby has been born," Mark said somberly. Lily immediately stopped being excited, and concern suddenly came over her features. "What's wrong? Is Jenna okay? I need to speak to you in private," Mark simply answered. Lily looked at the other family members who started to rise and come toward them. She simply nodded, reading her brother like a book. "Sure. Lead the way." They rounded the corner and sat down. After Mark told her what had happened, she stood there, almost in shock. "Jenna cheated on you?" she said, anger in her voice. She reacted similarly to Mark himself. They were siblings after all. "I will go into the delivery room and talk to her and our family. You go home and take some time. You need to know your next steps." Jenna sat in the cold, sterile room, cradling her newborn with a vacant stare. The once comforting beeps and whirs of hospital machines now seemed to mock her solitude. The certainty of her fidelity warred with the gnawing question of the baby's unexpected appearance. The hospital staff's pitying glances felt like daggers to Jenna. Each look was a nonverbal accusation, a silent question of her character. Lily stormed into Jenna's hospital room, her face etched with anger. She had come to confront the woman she believed had shattered her brother's world. But as she saw Jenna, pale and shaken, her fury wavered. "How could you?" Lily demanded. But Jenna's pleas interrupted her. The pain in Jenna's eyes didn't align with the betrayal Lily had imagined. As Jenna recounted the love she and Mark shared, Lily's certainty wavered, her anger giving way to doubt. Jenna's words carried sincerity, her anguish undeniable. The confrontation shifted into something else, an uneasy search for truth. "I didn't betray Mark," Jenna sobbed. "Please, Lily, he needs you now more than ever." Her words weren't just a plea for herself, but for Mark, a call for unity in the face of confusion. "Let's do a DNA test," Jenna declared. Silence filled the room. The trust between them hung in fragile balance, a single moment away from breaking. Mark's car kicked up dust as he drove to the family cabin, seeking solitude. The weight of uncertainty gnawed at him, driving him into the quiet of the woods. Inside, memories surfaced. Laughter, love, now tainted by doubt. He flipped through an old photo album, each image once a testament to happiness, now a reminder of what felt like deception. As dawn's light crept through the cabin windows, Mark faced the new day without having slept. The night had been long, filled with restlessness and racing thoughts. With morning light casting long shadows, he made a resolute decision. He would seek the truth through a DNA test, no matter the outcome. The gravity of what the test could reveal weighed heavily on Mark's mind. Its results could either shatter his world or begin to mend it. As he prepared to send the sample, his hands trembled, his thoughts consumed by the consequences. When the test was finally sent, a wave of emotions overtook him. Hope, fear, uncertainty. Now came the waiting. Time moved painfully slow. The cabin no longer a refuge, but a place of confinement. Mark and Jenna, once inseparable, now lived as strangers. Their home, once filled with warmth, became a silent reminder of the fracture between them. Each passing day deepened the distance, both physically and emotionally. Desperate, Jenna sought legal advice. Sitting in the lawyer's office, she recounted her story, bracing for whatever battle lay ahead. She pored over legal documents, each page a shield against doubt. The uncertainty of the test loomed over her, yet she refused to let it define her. Then, the day arrived. Mark's hands trembled as he opened the envelope. The words on the page cut through months of doubt. He was the biological father. The revelation struck him like a wave, leaving him breathless in its wake. Stunned, Mark sank into a chair, the paper slipping from his fingers. How could this be? As the shock faded, Mark was forced to confront the doubts and assumptions that had led him to mistrust Jenna so completely. The weight of his own misconceptions was difficult to bear, adding guilt to his already turbulent emotion. Determined to understand, he turned to his family's past, sifting through old albums and questioning relatives. Uncovering long-buried family secrets reshaped his understanding of identity. A confession from his grandmother revealed a past affair, shocking the entire family and forcing them to reevaluate their own beliefs. The revelation left Mark shaken. The woman he had always known was now intertwined with a hidden history. He wrestled with feelings of betrayal, struggling to redefine his place within a legacy rewritten before his eyes. As time passed, anger gave way to empathy. The family, once fractured by the truth, slowly began to heal. Understanding the past, with all its imperfections, became the key to moving forward. With a heavy heart, Mark walked toward Jenna's door, carrying the weight of his mistakes and the hope for forgiveness. It was time to bridge the gap his fears had created. Facing her, Mark laid bare his soul. He admitted his doubts, his prejudices, and the pain he had caused. His voice trembled with regret, knowing the depth of the wounds he had inflicted. With humility, he asked for a chance to make amends. Jenna, with tears in her eyes, saw his remorse. A fragile moment of understanding passed between them, tentative, but real. Together, they committed to rebuilding what had been broken. The road ahead would be difficult, but they chose to walk it step by step, embracing both their painful past and the hope for a future built on trust and love.